Okay, folks, welcome back and to the mess of plastic that we have here on the painting area. So we're gonna have to finish this. This is my attempt to look through this stuff. I was curious. It kind of piqued my own curiosity and see what I had plastic figure-wise. And now I'm halfway through. I'm not gonna throw them right back in there. So that allows some folks to come in here and. But so far, this is about half of the ones that I have. I got another mess over here. I don't see a whole lot of use out of the stuff that I have here. Even though the castings on some of these things might actually be just fine. A lot of like the weapons and stuff are really spindly. And not likely to be able to, these are really, really thin. So, I don't know, maybe at some point I might paint some of the desert stuff. I certainly like some of the figures that come in the desert rats and the Africa core. But I don't see a whole lot of usable stuff here that I'm just like dying to use. Some of these figures, like the Eschi figures, they're just, they have, the hats are just sitting on top of their head like a bowler. And I don't know if it's that or just showing too much of their head. If that's not really going to provide any protection. And I don't know when the hell I painted some of these guys. Probably in the late 80s, I'm guessing. Paratroopers over here. It's back in the period where it's like, oh, we'll just paint the details and the rest of it will be just fine. Like, what's wrong with you, boy? Of course, that's how you used to do with ship models. I grew up building ship models, and you would just, this is actually an Airfix. I don't know how I got this guy. This is an Airfix Russian infantry guy, and I've never had Airfix Russian infantry. I don't know how the hell I got him. Interloper. But we're halfway through this. We might as well just finish. Now, some poses are pretty cool. Like this guy's a Fallschirmjäger with his MP40, like he's aiming and shooting, and he's pretty cool. But the MP40 is like wafer thin and bendy. I don't think that's worth my time trying to use that. By the time I struggle with that, I could have painted 2 other figures. But let's just sort these in boxes. I know that occasionally you see people on eBay selling like a whole mass of these things for like $200 or something. These are tempting to sell them. I hope nobody's buying them. You've heard of sucker's bet. That would be a sucker's buy. Probably some of the most useful pieces would be like the flight crew. If I had like an airfield or something like that, because I'm not going to buy air figures, airfield guys. I don't know how I got these German World War I guys. Now, I got 2 batches of Africa core. One of the batches is a darker colored, and they're a little stiffer, so they might actually might do okay. But these Japanese guys, look at this. I mean, the molding is not bad on them. They actually have pretty good detail on their face, but you got this Arasaka noodle they swinging over his shoulder. Hey, Captain sounds pretty worrying. Well, I'm not worried. It's annoying. It should be just fine. I mean, we're on the outskirts. It kept moving a little bit more to the west, so we're kind of on the outskirts, and it's all going to depend on how much speed it picks up before it hits land. I'm surprised it's coming at all because I mean it spent a lot of time over Cuba and it went through some mountains in Cuba, but somehow it still managed a way to pick up moisture. But we should be fine. The next 2 days at work are not going to be any fun with cancellations and I don't know what to do moments. But it's not our first rodeo in that, so we should be okay. But it did manage to get me to clean the garage. So the garage is clean. We got the wife's car in there. We're probably going to put both of them in there. It's going to be a tight fit. And that's even with, instead of measuring the cars, I actually went online and figured out how wide both cars were. Hers is like 7'10", mine's 7'2" or something like that. And the opening to the garage is 18 feet. So we got about 4 extra feet to play with or something like that. It's still going to be tight. And we're going to back one in this way and one forward, and that way, it'll be all right. Yeah, some of these Africa Corps figures, the casting looks good, and the desert guys look good. The helmets fit right on those guys. They don't fit right on these Eschi guys. So, as what happens to me frequently, that you guys may or may not know, I have coffee later than I should. Which the problem with having coffee isn't that I don't sleep in. Not that I can't go to sleep, but I don't know where this guy comes from. This is an interesting posed figure. Still kind of bendy. Is that I wake up several times during the middle of the night, and I had some interesting dreams, but I don't really remember right now, but and one of my wake-ups, I thought of something that I asked the crowd last night, or the last couple of nights, and I haven't gotten a response on. Oh, look at this. Oh, this is like steps I could use for the side of a tank. All right, leave that. I had some of those, and I ended up... Most useless figure. The guy that's making fart noises. And the German infantry guy making fart noises. Late to the party. The 1,000 live feed I watch overran. I don't know what that means. But anyways, this morning, at about 3 o'clock in the morning, I was like, all right, let's find out let's find out about where the Australians served in the Second World War. And I was like, did they ever fight with the Indians? They did, in Malaya. But Malaya is very short-lived and certainly does not have a happy ending, because a lot of them got captured. And but then after that, they kind of split ways, and they never served in India. I mean, there was some that went over there, but, as a force. So if I want to do Indians and Australians, I'm going to have to do them separately. Looks like you are on the edge of Debbie's cone. I am. Yeah. I am. We should be okay. I'm worried more about them. Oh, here's some fuckery. Oh, no, never mind. I thought this was so look at the similarity here, these guys. Okay, what's this Japanese dude being cast in the British color? He's not. He just has a similar... You got some guy that's wounded in the head, and he's starting to swing people with his Enfield. I think that's beyond the point of last resort there. Another Frenchman I tried to paint. I don't know why. When you're young, you do shit like, oh, let me get some French troops in case we're using French. I could use them. Oh, let me get some. Instead of having like a set of anything, like have little bits and pieces of all kinds of different armies. Well, that's just not practical. That's just not practical. Yeah, tomorrow is going to be a sucky day at work anyways. this next week is going to be a sucky week, anyways. They're trying to implement some new stuff that's going to be software-wise. It's going to be a shit show, and they got people coming down to do that, and that's all I'm going to talk about it. But this is the wrong week for that. I have a feeling they won't be flying in tomorrow like they planned. I have a feeling that's not going to happen. Is this the redo of last night's muted section? I didn't know it was muted. No, this is just, I got to get these guys off the table so I can go back to probably 2 more grabs and I'll be done. No. Who knows what's going on? Oh, here's a guy I tried to paint in my own particular fashion in the 1980s, I guess. Oh, what's he doing over the Africa Corps? That's a good way to get captured, asshole. Get your pompous ass over there. Yeah, like this guy, okay, here's a German pilot. I don't know that I'll ever use him, but he's pretty solid material. The casting on most of these guys is pretty decent. So from that standpoint, they're okay to paint. They're just all flimsy and shit, you know? Like this guy, this is a nice casting. Look at this bloke with the with his Enfield and he's got the bayonet on it. But look at the, you're not going to get paint to stick to that. Or if you are, it's going to flake off. I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time with that. German air crew. Ski guy with no skis, typical. Hey, I had these guys when I was a kid. The skis get lost. Another air crew guy. I don't like the ESCI figures at all. It's hard for me to find any. Oh, this guy doesn't belong here. How do you get in here? Interloper. This guy is from the ESCI Pack 40 or something. Or maybe like an 88 or something like that. Well, we got a special place for him. That guy's actually not that useless. And we got a guy, a Russian guy that's, this guy's probably one of the figures that come off of the T-34, like a tank rider. He was my favorite figure as a kid, a flamethrower. It's unique. It's all fun and games until you smell the burnt hair. These French, which are weird, they got bazookas, but they also have Adrian helmets. I think the Italian design team at ESCI really dropped the ball on that one. I don't know why you got German World War I troops. I've looked into doing World War I, some World War I stuff, because I'm surfing around on the internet and I came across these figures called tumbling dice. And I really like the style of them. The tumbling dice guys, but I can't get into that. Get that German out of there. They're no fun at parties. So if I ever get a wild hair up my ass, here's another Matchbox Africa Corps guy. I don't know how I got these. I think I got these as a hand-me-down from somebody. He's missing a hand. Can't do the salute now. It's the wrong arm anyways. Where's this guy? Now there's 2 of them. Just wanted to see if I was actually something interesting in here, and I'm pretty disinterested in what's in here. Maybe I could sell these for hundreds of thousands. Look, this guy's even got camouflage. He's a paratrooper with like a camouflage jet. What the hell, you know? Dumbass kid. Hey, if I hadn't practiced on these shitty figures, I wouldn't get to where I am now. It's, yeah, that's it. Look, here's the Vickers. The Vickers is actually useful. And you know, here's the guy. It's like, yeah. Hold on. How is he doing it? Oh, it's this one up. Excuse me. Vickers over there. Vickers to the left. Ooh, a Russian woman with boobies. No, they're not showing. Well, I mean they are, but she's got something on. This would be the second lady I have. I have a lady sniper. She's got a badass gun too. Russian lady sniper. I don't know that she's a lady, but she's not shooting a gentleman either. So all bets are off. Ooh, I got a modern U.S. guy here. Yeah, I had some of those. I don't know why. I was using them as something else. Let's take a looky. You guys are saying some interesting stuff. Australians had quite a presence in the Far East, mostly small lodgement. Excuse me, sir, you have a small lodgement. Have some prunes. In the Dutch East Indies and Rabaul, as well as Singapore and Malaya. I believe some of the TD World War I ones, they're a little smaller than 1/72nd. Oh, the tumbling dice guys are? They look great in pictures. The Free French are an odd mixture of uniform and equipment useful as Vichy forces. Not with bazookas or not. I bet they didn't use a single bazooka. They do some World War II too, but some of the World War I range will work for World War II Russians and Great Coats French, etc. Yeah, I like the figures. Go look. I'm sure there's somebody pushing them right now on eBay. I mean, I really like the style they're done in. But look, if I can't do DVA and this at the same time, or let's not call it DVA, let's call it Ancients. Ancients and Medieval at the same time. This will be one more grab, and then we'd be done with this. Then I certainly can't do World War I. And if I did something other than World War II at the same time, it'd probably be Africa, modern Africa stuff, which I got some stuff painted for, and I could repurpose like the roads and shit like that, but this is just a rich environment. I really don't need to go anywhere else other than this. God, these guys are shitty rubbery figures. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what figures these are. They cast in like this, and almost looks like if this was a gummy bear, it'd be a really shitty flavor. It would be like a licorice grape. That's a good way to ruin a grape thing. Make it taste like licorice. You know, licorice is weird. People either love licorice or they're like, horrible. It's just horrible. Japanese surrendering. Well, there's a useless fucking figure. When do they ever surrender? Not real likely for them to surrender. Yeah. Here's a guy with an FG-42, supposedly. It's got no bipod. Now, how's he firing it like this off the ground? That's a lot of strength. I know. Sometimes you just know too much. You can't enjoy things. So we're going to put these in little bags, so within the big bag. So if I ever, for some reason, need to come in here and look for, hey, let me find a pilot. Like I need some guy on a to be a pilot that's going to be rescued or something. Or we could grab that. And I actually have a set, and I wish they had made more of them, that was called something like German Generals. I forget who the hell it was made by. Maybe a company called Audemars. They're on Plastic Soldier Company. It literally has like 24 German generals. You know, everybody from Rommel to Model to people in between that you don't recognize them in the pose. You know, because a lot of them are like, oh, that looks like so-and-so. That looks like so-and-so. And they have a very similar face, unfortunately. It's not as pronounced as, say, Britannia, but they have similar faces. And, you know, one guy that's really useful, this guy. I'll probably be painting him up. This little British guy with a binocs. This is a useful figure. First of all, he's super solid. And, yeah, it's useful. So we'll probably end up using him as somebody at some point. You know, like this light machine gun is really nicely cast for the Japanese, but it's bendy as all hell, you know? That's like, be scared of doing that. So yeah, as a rehash of yesterday, you guys weren't on. It happens, you know. I cleaned the garage, which we needed to do it for the storm so we could hide the cars in there if we needed to, just to keep, you know, small debris and stuff from falling on them. And we needed to anyways. So we can get both cars in there right now. And I found, I was so excited, I still am. I might actually tinker with it today. I do not know. I do not really know what today is in store for me. Hopefully we don't lose power. Mainly because I don't want to lose air conditioning. I'm okay losing power. I just, you know, I have a hard time sleeping it when it's hot. So. But anyhow, I found the Masters airbrush that came with my compressor, the free airbrush that came with the compressor, and the first airbrush I got 4 or 5 years ago when I did those DVA mats was a Masters airbrush, which is, you know, just, it's a Ching Chang Chung brand. You know, it's probably one company that makes multiple different airbrushes get made in there, but it was a suction feed airbrush, and I had so many problems with it. And but this one that came free with it is a gravity fed, like my Iwata. But I know it's not going to be as easy to take apart as the Iwata. Anyway, so I'm like, I might mess with this and just leave it like on one setting, like leave it with a needle, because I'm sure it's not going to have a precise needle on it, and I can use terrain for that. And use my Iwata for all the detail stuff. So I'm looking through it and I find the airbrush, and it comes with 2 needles. One of them is a 0.2. So I'm excited about trying that Masters airbrush now that I'm significantly better airbrushing. I'm not an expert, but I am an expert compared to how I was 5 years ago with the and try that out to see if we can do some of those fine squigglies with some of the airbrushes, because I can't do some of them with even the 0.35 nozzle, which is what it came with. The Iwata came with a 0.35, and I bought a 0.5 for it just so I could push out the stuff like this, you know. But I can't get smaller than the point. They don't make a one smaller than the 0.35. So with a 0.2, yeah, maybe we can get some of those little squiggles. We'll have to experiment with that. I don't know if we'll do that today, but I'm really not sure what the hell's in store for today. Sometimes it's better than that way. Don't make any freaking plans. TD match well with Airfix from Wiley Believe. Okay. MG packs from Tumbling Dice are nice. They have one deployed and one transport. Problem with the pose is most of the Rangers share the same dolly, so it can be a little samey in mass. Yeah, I know what you mean. The early war miniatures seem to be, looking through those figures that you guys turned me on to last night, seem to be that might be the same case as well, which is okay. as long as you only use them for like the Indians and don't use them for anything else. If you're going to do Indians and Australians and British or whatever, like, oh, they're all the same bottoms, like, they're very samey, as you say. That's actually, I knew exactly what you meant. You can make up your own words as long as people know what you're talking about. Here's a guy just talking on the radio, sitting on his hiney. More Germans surrendering. That's why they lost World War One. Too many of these poses. The World War One Germans. It's actually a really nice figure. Like the casting on it. These field cap hats that look like little sailors. I hate those things. They look like shitty bakers. It's a pretzel bakers. No, we don't want any problems. We don't want any problems. A wounded paratrooper. Maybe to go rescue him, but I don't plan on getting any Fallschirmjägers. The guy with a wrench of unusual size. What kind of uniform does that guy with a wrench of unusual size have? I wonder if he could be a French dude. Paint him on it like a French dude because they make a little French garage, right? It even says garage and 3D printed. He could be the angry Frenchman that's in there and saying, "Hey, I'm here for my oil change. Get the fuck out! I'm having a croissant." Comes out with a big wrench. No? Okay. One of my favorite poses. This guy, not only is he throwing a grenade, he's like, I'm going to hit the fucker in the head, and then it's going to go off. Like, I've had enough of your bagpipes. Hey, look, he's doing his impression of Tunisia in 1943. Look him up. These British troops and these German troops, I always found them annoying for the desert. The guys that are in shorts have these socks that are almost up to their knees. And the elastic that they must have used in the early 1940s must have been like industrial strength because it doesn't come down. They don't slouch at all. It just looks artificial. This guy lost his grenade. That's what you get for being a Nazi. Or as you guys say, a Nazi. How nauseating. Tony, just found a paint guide for British and Indian armor in Burma. Pinged it across you on Facebook. Excellent. If I do Japanese, which I wasn't super excited about, now I'm excited about doing it because it's just an opportunity to learn about something. I used to use the Airfix, Luftwaffe, and RAF ground personnel as tank crews and mechanics working on breakdowns. Totally. So I don't know what this guy has, but look at this guy. You know who this guy is. Oh, you know what he is? I thought he was fueling a vehicle. That's not what he's doing. He's spraying. He's spraying paint. This could be a tank crewman that is spraying a really bad version of Dunkel, the three colors on the Dunkel kill. Because I'm like, if you're refueling it, you know how many times you have to fill in this little bastard to get okay, we got to get one flight. Hold on, I need to come back 137 times to fill up the fuel tank. That's what this must be. He's airbrushing. I should paint this guy up and then change my channel to the masked airbrusher or something like that. And this will be my logo, this little fucker right here. This guy could be a French dude watering plants. He could be some French hippie ahead of his time watering plants. Oh, having too much fun with this shit. Hey, look, it's Lady Dada. Oh, she's got bags under her eyes. She's been around the block. Look what we have here. This is a spare road wheel from the Tamiya Mark IV-D tank. That's got to be what it is. It's in gray. It's Mark IV. It's a Mark IV wheel. The only Mark IV I had in gray was that Tamiya. And this is obviously 1/35th scale. That's going in the garbage. I don't regret doing that anymore. Like, let me build this big model, and then like it just sits there. Like, nope. Ah, bazooka guy, finally. U.S. Marines, but nobody to fight them. Back then when I got these guys, like, oh, these look just like, this is German, this is American infantry. Would you use them as that? Well, you probably could. Oh, here's a shitty way to paint this Ludendorff type dude. You Ludendorff. I must have used like a number 10 paintbrush for this guy. I probably painted these guys when Reagan was still president. He should be the representation of you with the airbrush. I'm better looking than that guy. Of course, I need to be on his weight loss program. I don't make a very good Nazi. Sorry. I just don't like telling people what to do. Preemptively invade countries. I'm not the defender of Europe like that guy. As Scammell tank transporters had a scenario of Germans attacking a tank repair workshop. She must have dipped into some of those German pills. Were they uppers? I don't know anything about. I don't know shit about drugs, and since that wasn't on Narcos Mexico, I don't know what. Is that like the common thing that was on perky pills or something like that? The Germans got all horny for conquest. Who is this guy? Oh, this is my third Africa Corps from Airfix. I don't know how I got these guys. I never saw them for sale. I think they got them as a hand-me-down for somebody else. I got 3 guys. World War One German. Another French guy painted. I know. I'll paint. Ooh, another French guy painted. Another French guy painted. What is it going to paint a whole squad all in the same pose? I was looking at some channels. I was trying to find the video of the guy that I got the Jesus juice, also known as the, well, that's what he called it, the thinner. Oh, look at this guy on his back. Although I think this guy is a U.S. tank air. I got U.S. air guys in here somehow, as well. I don't know, but and I came across. I had a hard time finding the video. I did eventually find it, and then we went to the grocery store, and then forgot to make a list of the stuff that I needed to buy for it. So I never bought the Glass Plus and the distilled water. But in trying to find this guy's channel, I came across so many other channels that had similar recipes for cleaner for the airbrush of making your own, including some that had some channel names that were extremely self-deprecating, all in nerd. Like, okay, yeah, I'm not even a gamer or even remotely nerd compared to some of these phenomenal people out there. Strange cats. Oh, an observing French dude. I don't know. There's another guy on a stretcher. There's another little nip. Nip of a nip. Don't get nipped by a nip. These are modern stuff. I don't give a shit about none of this stuff. It goes in the garbage can. And we got the wheels on the Maxim. Okay, we got ready to put all this shit away. And then we can go back to doing the Americaners. How many do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And we're going to lump these 3 Africa Korra guys with these odds and ends. 15. 15 little baggies. I got these little snack size. That should be plenty big. Snackistanis. Yeah, I did find that video, including one guy did a video on how to thin craft paint. And the only reason that's even interesting to me is if whenever I go and paint a tarp, I don't know what I'm going to do for the 8x8 table covering. But canvas seems to be pretty affordable. There's a company here there's a store here that sells things really cheap, and sometimes they're of questionable quality, and sometimes they're just as good as something else. But they're definitely it's a store called Harbor Freight, and they sell you Chinese tools that admit to being Chinese tools. Some of the stuff is just junk, and some of the stuff is all right. But they sell this canvas that are like $20 for you can make like an 8x8 canvas. So I might buy a little one and spray it. Well, I don't want to use Vallejo, so I'll use craft paint. But you need to thin that. I don't want to hand paint that, or I'll be there, the rest of my life. So I only really dislike them when they call themselves a geek. A geek is just like a cop-out for not calling yourself a nerd for me. Red Dragon Model Works. Yeah, I found this. Yeah, I found him. Yeah, the guy's a bit too serious, but I like his thing. And there might actually be another. It's like, yeah, where's that Puerto Rican guy? That's what he sounds like. Sounds like a guy from New York. Don't mess with that guy. But I liked his formula that he did, and there might be other formulas that I might like better, but that's what I have. You only got them all hopped up, if I remember correctly. Okay, I only really dislike when people call themselves a geek. Geek is someone that bites the head off of chicas. Ooh, Santeria. A geek. I don't call myself any of those things. I'm just passionate about learning about this stuff. It's fascinating. Even though I'm a devout pacifist. But, why do you worry about war so much? Well, why do you watch horror movies? Do you want, innocent girls mutilated? I'm sure some people watch horror movies and that's what they're into. But most people it's like this weird fascination, And for me, it's about I don't care about the personal stories. I don't For me, it's all about tactics. So I'm not really interested in reading stuff on a MacArthur level. I'm interested in these guys have these things they have to get around. How do they do it? Well, they pin these guys down with fire, and then they go around and do it, that kind of stuff. That's why I'm not really interested in playing rapid fire, and it's a little too vague for me. But I've done all that 1 to 5 scale stuff. I've already been a battalion commander and a regimental commander. There's too much paperwork in that. Geek. Yeah. There's one guy that went up to one of the big convention. What is it? Gen Con. And showed me some of the pictures. Like 80,000 people there. And Historicon's a big convention, but it's only like, I don't think there's only been like 3,000 people at Historicon ever. And it's pretty crowded. So 80,000 people, that's a lot. But man, there's a lot of pussyfoots in there. I don't want to be around that many pussyfoots. I grew up at a time when you were in school and you were bullied. And I wasn't one of the cool kids. I didn't have parents that, had a lot of money. So I didn't have any designer clothes or anything like that. So, you get made fun of, by the rich kids or whatever. And, and then as you get better, you try to do better with yourself, as you can, and, but now it's like, let's see how freakish I can get. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to make fun of those people, but I'm also like, kind of like, you should have known better. You would have gotten an atomic wedgie in 1982, pal. If you would have been in middle school when I was in middle school, you would have had an atomic wedgie. I'm like, I think I will have my hair blue. Yeah. That makes me contrarian now for not being contrarian. Okay. Oh, you can hear these are definitely stiffer. I think I was reading something about those drugs, and I think they're like I think it was like they were talking about the B-29 pilots that dropped the bomb. They gave them some kind of pills also to keep them awake so they didn't fall asleep, but that just might have been just uber caffeine. Which is my drug of choice, caffeine. But I was reading a little bit about the Australians, just kind of going over it. Just on Wikipedia, man. Yes, there's wrong stuff on Wikipedia, but as long as you're not reading something political or, you're on somebody's page where there's like an axe to grind, you get these guys that I don't know how they end up being the burgermeister of of the page of a certain thing. Every Wikipedia page I think has a burgermeister, or a guy who's like, this is my page and nobody will modify it, and if somebody says something that I don't like, that I'm going to modify it back, and but this little town that I live in has an unusual name. It's named after people that no longer exist, and I just happened to look on it one time, and this guy's the pronunciation he uses for it is I've worked in this town longer than this fucker's lived in this town, and he says it supposedly gets pronounced a certain way. I'm like, I've only heard two rednecks pronounce it that way, so I made an edit on it as something, and he didn't like that and changed it back. I'm like, all right, we'll find out where you fucking live, and we'll send the Cuban mafia after your ass. No, I don't care, but there's people that are all on some kind of crusade all the time about everything. I'd rather just not interact with those people. They're just dead to me. Where is the plastic bag that all these sons of bitches were in? These guys were in one big plastic bag, and that's where they're going to go again. But anyways, I find Wikipedia is just fine. At least it's a starting point to look at things. I don't know why I don't have a big bags. They're all one plastic bag. I'm just going to put these back in the bag. Now they're sorted. Sons of bitches. I don't know where it went to. I have no idea where it went to. All right, I guess I'll go get another one. I'll be right back. So I didn't find anything really that interesting in here. So with that said, oh you asshole, here it is at the bottom of one. No. Fuck you, I'm keeping the big bag, the new bag, and the old bag can go back in and... Ah, think you're getting out of work. Nope. Now that we've cleared the workspace here, these are the guys that we painted last night. It took a long time to do these few bases. I was falling asleep. Straight into the pills after mentioning them being stiffer. You don't need pills, you just need a better looking girlfriend. Their name for the long matchsticks I got, I can only find the normal short ones over here. Let's see what they're called. They may not have it. I just got them at the craft store. If I kept the bag. I didn't. I used them all up. I don't know. I don't think they need to be that long. I mean, just regular matchsticks would work just fine. Why do they need to be longer? Managed to make a few ladders and little platform during lunch, but I could do with some longer ones for pieces of ancient scenery. Oh, there's my answer. Careful what I ask. I might just get it. Well, a couple of things. So I've got these 5 guys here. I'm going to go ahead and dull coat. No, let's do that last because I'm going to handle it and some of it could come off. Even though it's just acrylic. Let's go once more into the breach. Do the rest of these Americaners. That's what I call them. I don't call them Ami. Amis. Oh, the Amis are here. Never heard that before. I've seen it written, but I've never heard anybody refer to them as Amis. I've never heard referred to that Japanese fighter plane referred to as a Zeke. Oh, look out, them Zeeks are coming out of the sky. What the hell, you know? This actually worked really well. Another discovery that I did last night is just drip some water in here and they don't have to... I mean, this thing is big enough that I don't need that much water. Just a refresher for the brush, so to speak. What was I playing? I was played a game of something the other day, putzing around. I occasionally video game, not more than like half an hour a day, just something to do the gaming, something. Like I'm too tired to paint, but not ready to go to sleep. And playing some Assassin's Creed, the Unity one. That even though I solved the whole thing, I'm just kind of putzing around Paris, and I saw some furniture that I'm like, man, that would have looked great by some of my buildings. But the furniture was like, oh, is this coming off? Ooh, we have a problem here. Let's make sure this is attached well. If not, the sticky stuff on these bases is really sticky. So the fact that this is happening is really unusual. Maybe just a fluke. But anyways, it was a table and chair that was in this building, and it was worn looking, and the color combination was like orange and blue, and it actually worked. Like it was worn. So I took a picture of it, but I don't know that I'm going to put. I'm not putting any furniture in my buildings because, first of all, I'm not going to hand make it, and that's just a detail too far. It's more needed in the buildings that aren't damaged more than the ones that are. The buildings that are damaged, it's like, well, it probably got blown to smithereens, or got stolen. I'm gonna try not to go out today because people are gonna be wound up. That's the worst thing about these storms is people will just like buy up everything. Everybody's like acting like it's a zombie apocalypse. And it's just a storm, man. And it's not that big a one, and we're on the edge of it. So, as long as a tree doesn't fall down, we should be just fine. And as long as you don't have a neighbor like the neighbor we had in the other house, he would like leave debris and shit outside. Like that's like exactly what you don't want. He had like a big he had to cut down a bunch of limbs, so it wouldn't fall somewhere, and then left the limbs across the street like in a big pile. Like, great, thanks. You know. This first coat is so time consuming because you got to get it everywhere. But after that, the rest of them are okay. By the way, who is this? Young. Young, the guy with the one of the guys with a Thompson. Now the tricky part. covering up the goblin green. I don't think it's goblin green. I'm pretty sure it was a polyester color I used that was similar in. Polyester was the first paint that I encountered here in the United States that was acrylic. Made by Flocal. Which I believe is a British brand. And they were instrumental. Because before that, everything I encounter is enamels. I'm not going to paint with enamels. All right, who we got here? Johnson. Big Johnson. Big Johnson on those pills. So I was reading a little about the Australians, and apparently the Australians had the same problem the Canadians did. The Canadians had with the SS's. They didn't like taking prisoners of each other. More like the Japanese like to shoot them, and then they're like, well, if you're going to shoot us, then we're going to shoot you. Next thing you know, nobody's taking anybody's prisoners. I'm pretty sure the Japanese were that way. They were pretty much, they were ruthless to their own people. The Japanese were probably more ruthless to their own soldiers than the Russians were to their own soldiers. That's saying a lot. So you get treated like shit by your own junior officers in your squad or whatever. You're gonna take all that aggression out on other people. I was off to a later start today. I woke up almost an hour later than I like to. And I have two alarms. I have an alarm for 5 a.m. and I have one for 6, and I don't remember hearing the one for 5 a.m. at all. I got up and I'm like, I wonder what time it is before I wake up. 5:42. What the hell? It's 7:20 in the morning. Why are you mowing the lawn? Oh, my wife's going to be pissed. So if you hear that, that's what it is. What if that's the dude mowing our lawn? Oh, shit. Hey, we didn't tell him to come today. He's supposed to be here on Wednesday. That's the problem when you don't do your own lawn, is you got to control those things. The problem is it'd be almost impossible trying to pick a day where it's not raining. That, and I'm not buying a several $1,000 lawnmower for the privilege of mowing my own lawn. Oh, my wife's going to be pissed. Oh, she's going to roll. I let her make all those customer service type calls. Like, she's going to be pissed. Why the hell are you mowing out this early? Because she'll hear anything. There'll be like a house, two neighbors over, and somebody will have like diarrhea in the bathroom inside their house. She'll hear it. I'm exaggerating, but. No, hopefully that sound doesn't bug you too much, but because that's what it is. Found those yesterday. I might have some balsa. 8mm longer than usual. Need more pills. It's a little too wet here. Let's see what we got here. Okay. All right, two messages. Let's see what we got here. Barrage, smoke, and explosion markers. Oh, I could do better than that. Burma painting guide. Leaving our app. Sure, go ahead. Oh, you're sending me a download. Okay, here comes the virus. Don't forget to swallow it all. 7th Armor Brigade. That is just freaking cute. Oh, what's not to like about a Jerboa? Let's see what we got here. And they got Stewies. What's not to like about Stewart Tank? It's like a super tank. The 50th Indian Tank Brigade. The Fisters. And Indian tanks with Lee. Oh man, Lee tanks. That's cool. Can you imagine what was going on in there? I don't. It's time to fight. Oh, I don't have a shell loaded. Oh, I put one in. I thought there wasn't in one. Oh, I put it in a 75, not the 57. You know, we could have too much fun. This is railroad tracks. I've never seen this symbol before. 254th Indian Tank Brigade. Man, thank you for this. Lees are perfect. Lees are perfect for. Oh, wait a second. Why do they have a white guy in them? Shouldn't the tank commander be an Indian dude? I've seen this bull. Wow, an elephant looks big until you put a tank next to it. That's really cool. Thanks for that. I'll have to take a look at that. And then Scotland's biggest war game show. How can it be the biggest show? It's only on for 6 hours. Claymore. That's a great name. I'll take a look at that too. The Claymore, that's a Vietnam only event. Oh no, did I lose my page? Oh well, I lost my page. We'll just we'll risk getting disconnected and not being anybody on here. What even is my life? I'm sitting here sorting through the matchsticks between the normal ones and the ones that have weird knots and shapes. Hey everybody, it's better than freaking watching sports. At least you're doing something. It's mental therapy, man. This is mental therapy. All of this. You don't go to the therapist? No, I model. I don't need to. How do you stop a Lee if you're the Japanese? You strap a bomb to yourself and you shimmy underneath it. This motherfucker has Monday through Friday. And this is what he does for a living, to do this. And he waits until on the weekend. My fucking show's on, man. Oh, hopefully that doesn't disturb you guys too much, but that's the lawnmower, man. If you want, I can go have him killed. Technically, he's on my property. Bait them into tank ditches. So one of the other things that I'm planning on doing, if I can't do the tables, the table situation next, is build the stuff for that scenario that involves the tank riders. And what that would involve in is painting 2 T-34s. Done. Hell, I got probably 12 T-34s painted. Maybe even more than that. But I'll need 2 squads of tank riders. And they have almost an even mixture of Mosins and Pepe Shahs. So I'll have to paint some Pepe Shah troops. And for the Germans, I need to paint an anti-tank gun. It says it's a Pack 38, but I don't know. It's mid 43. They should have had a Pack 40 by then. The crew frit, and then a tank ditch that goes 3 feet across, which will probably do it 3-dimensional. Probably use 2mm MDF for that, and wire also, and a little wooden fence. I got enough Germans. That'll be the next thing we do, just to keep, kind of working on towards these small goals, Well, the only good thing about mowing at this time, it's not me. So if somebody says, "Who the fuck's out there?" It's like, oh, that's a dude that doesn't look like me, not even remotely. So I can't really be blamed for that. My wife's gonna make my wife sound like she's a bitch. No, she's actually the one that has a good personality. I'm the asshole. She's upset when people get, like, I wouldn't do that. Like, at the old house, like, I wasn't allowed to start mowing until 9 a.m. You know, just for other neighbors. I'd mow at 4 o'clock in the freaking morning. It wouldn't bother me any, other than you couldn't see. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, so that's probably what I'm going to do next is work on that if I can't get the tables. But like I was talking to last night, but nobody was here. But that's I kind of we ended up cleaning up the garage. Ended up cleaning up the garage. We did clean up the garage, and I'd either have to get 3 tables that are 30 by 8 feet, foldable, or 6 that are the six. No, I'm sorry, 8. The 8 would actually work better. That are 2 feet by 4, because they could serve other purposes. But they're expensive. But you know, it's one of those things that if you're going to buy them, the sooner you buy them, the longer you'll be able to use them. You know, if you're going to buy an airbrush, don't wait until you're 70 years old to buy an airbrush, because you're not going to be able to use it for very long. You know, as long. How about that? That's what I said about the wet palette. If you're gonna buy a wet palette, you know that thing that I'm not using right now. Well, I'm not painting figures, and it's bulky. It's just too damn big. It takes up too much space. If you're gonna buy a wet palette, do it soon. Don't wait until you've painted a bunch of figures without it to do it. guess I better put this back up because I don't know if this feed's even still on. I wish it'd have a sound like whoop, like oh, I'm off, you know. New incognito, okay. That way I'm not signed in as myself when I sign in. No, I don't want that. Yep. All right, we're good. Now we'll put this here. All right. Yeah, I don't get any kind of notification. I don't get a notification when you guys put something for text. I don't get anything. Maybe there's a way to do that. I'm not your guy for that. So anyways, getting back to the explosion markers, I don't think I need any explosion markers per se, because there's no residual fire on the explosions. They don't just stay there. But like a wreck or something that's burning, that's yeah. But like an actual like a big dirt mound of HE whatever, there's no residual on it. Like whenever it lands and it does the damage, and then it just it's not there anymore. As cool as they may look. Let's do the big mortar stand. As somebody had suggested a while back, I said, well, you could just mix paint in with this and do this. And that's true. However, this the Liquitex stuff had it, and this does as well. This basing material is semi-gloss, almost like glossy. So then I would have to dull coat the whole freaking stand. I'm just not interested in doing that. Whereas, I don't seal this paint that I'm adding to the stand, and I don't have to because it's not glossy. Oh fuck, we got a little bit of a. All right, well we're just gonna go with it. What's the worst thing that could happen? I just have to read and letter these guys. Some ways have been easier just to rip these things off, but I'm like, well, there's an opportunity to reuse some of this stuff. It might save me some time, but I don't know that is always the case. Well, like I was talking about yesterday about the U.S. Armored Divisions, those couple of armored units you just showed me in the Indian Army already have cool armored division units, and the American ones have shitty ones. So whoever decided to approve the U.S. Armored Division symbols was a lazy bastard. I know we'll do this triangle in 3 colors, and then we'll put a 3 at the very bottom. That's the third, and the second will be one with a 2, and like, how freaking lazy, man. Okay, all that stuff for the little brush. Except the edges. We'll do the edges last. I'll leave that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and rinse. I don't go ahead and rinse it off. Get into those nooks and crannies. those pills they were on. Coming back to the pills, they got me excited about the pills. No, what would the modern day equivalent be of that? What would be the stuff that would be the equivalent of whatever those pills are? What kind of effects do they have? It'd be like hard drugs or inspirational medication. You know, like the stuff that's advertised on a television that they don't tell you what's even for. Ask your doctor about such and such. I imagine that'd be pretty hard stuff to have some good effects. Good effects. You know, to be extra motivational. Mortarman Morris. Okay. Now we'll rinse this one off. We'll go back to the big one, the bigger one. Wallace. Last Airfix World War II British infantry can be seen on Plastic Soldier Review. Not great sculpts compared to the 19... Oh man, I forgot to put live chat on. Damn it. Yeah, now I see the curry farts. I missed all kinds of shit. Alright, I'm going back and seeing what you guys rather. World War I range. Big guy, British armor case, airfix with focus. Let's just gun them all. Looks like I may not have missed anything. Curry farts in there were only legal because gas is only banned against the enemy. I know that has a habit of that. I've never had a. I love curry food. I don't know that I ever had a adverse reaction to that. It'd be like if stuff has like chili or something like that. Would be 1970 scope. So the Airfix World War II British infantry that sounds like they were made after the 1970s sculpts were even worse. Like that's progressing in the wrong direction. That's a retrograde progression, which is not progression at all. I wonder what character this guy was inspired by. This is different, definitely a character. I guess curry food is y'all's equivalent of Mexican food. I much prefer curry. Does your wife ever hear what you say? I miss the curry farts and ask what the bloody hell goes on in your hobby lounge. Sometimes she kind of tunes. She hears everything. She hears stuff before I even say it. But I don't say anything on here I wouldn't say to her face. Hobby lounge. Well, drinks are on me in that case. I'd have a drink tonight, with a storm, but I gotta work tomorrow. Well, who knows? They're not gonna. I gotta make a decision later today what we're gonna do. I'm probably gonna cancel them. I only got 3 people that work for me. I'm not gonna. They're not. They don't need to be on the road. We'll just move everything back one day. It's not like it's my first week at work. It's like I've been doing this for 30 years. Like I got a clue. So, even if even if you could do what we were planning on doing, nobody's going to be on the receiving end to take the stuff. So there's no point in going up there. All 3 of them are supposedly going somewhere where the storm is going to. So that's not going to work. We'll just have to scrub Monday, and then Monday becomes Tuesday, and then we still have to check tomorrow because people may not be at the job site on Tuesday either. So it's just one of them things. Which means Wednesday's going to be a real shit show because Wednesday was a busy day, anyways. Now we're going to have stuff bogged down. Whatever. Maybe I'll die overnight. Won't have to worry about it. No point worrying about stuff in advance you can't do anything about. I said all my problems are usually revolving around work. I don't have any personal problems really. But people that have issues at work and at home, no wonder you guys are on drugs. Okay. Wallace. Alright, this guy's cute. We'll do this guy next. Crawford. As much as I like the some of these Drew's Militia Battlefield guys, some of their sculpting is suspect. They do a good job on the face. They do a good job of equipment, especially like the weapons. And they get to the feet and they're like, fuck them, give them cankles, you know? They're just almost like an afterthought. I still like them, but many of their figures are very pear-shaped. Man, that's not accurate either. It's their ankles are just very fat, nondescript. I'm gonna leave this live. Let's grab the little one again, do the fine tuning in there. I'm gonna take the flagpole down. I want that thing flapping around. Yeah, a lot of this stuff we're gonna wait till the last minute. There's no point taking all the stuff down. I have to put it back up. Although I don't think the flagpole could get damaged. I mean, we're not going to get more than like 50-mile-an-hour gusts. I don't think we're going to get more than that. And when is the next update? I'm going to lose the screen, aren't I, if I do that? Okay, well, we're not going to do that here, then. We'll do it on the computer. Oh, there we go. Let's minimize this. And God, I can't see. Red cane. 8 a.m. Okay, so we just had it. Okay. Yeah, it moves a little bit more to the west, which is good for us. Wind is 60 miles an hour. I just don't see, and most of the wind is on our side. Yeah, we'll be all right. As long as we don't have a tree fall on us, we'll be all right. I still stand by we are in like the best place in Florida for that kind of stuff. Like I said, even if the hurricane comes here and destroys our whole house and kills us all, I still stand by my words. I mean, I've lived in this area my whole life, and the closest we ever got was 1986, and it's mainly those storms that are coming from the Gulf into like kind of the track this one's taking. Although that particular one was more tilted and it had more strength. This is as far as storms go, a really weak storm. Now, it didn't even form, and usually they're full strength before they even get around Cuba. They just keep building and building and building. Okay, and Crawford's done. Let's do this Terry dude. Tiny Terry. So if I want to build a regular squad, because I didn't build these for a squad, I built them for a specific scenario called Purple Heart Hill. It's in the Heroes of Omaha and Panzer Lair book. I believe a U.S. full strength squad is 12 men, if I remember correctly. We got a rifleman. We got a rifleman. Okay, this is a BAR gunner, so we need one of those for each one of the squads. I believe they have one, not two. Terry's the other guy for the other squad. Just curious to see what I got here. Rifleman, rifleman. This guy's part of the mortar group. Another rifleman, that's 3. 4 here. 3 there. Okay. That's a junior officer. Here's another rifleman here. That's it. Wow, I need more Garand guys. I need more Garand guys. Because this guy's part of the mortar. This guy's part of the mortar. This guy is... Where's the other mortar guy? Is it just two? Yeah, okay, here's another rifle guy. Okay, so you got 4 riflemen. And then we got... This guy's like the platoon sergeant. And here's the LT, he runs the platoon. This guy's like a junior officer. He's like the second in command of this squad. This guy doesn't have any markings, but he's got an M1 carbine. I guess we could throw him in as a... And then we got 3 other guys here that could either be the squad leader, 2 guys there. We're still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7. We need more Garand guys. We need more Garand guys to paint. So if I want to paint more Americans, it's going to be guys with Garands, for sure. We need a whole tear of those guys with Garands. We don't need any more submachine gunners. Okay. Well, I built it specifically for this scenario, and these guys are on the defense. It's a German attack, believe it or not. 352nd Division, if I remember correctly. Counterattack. Yeah, so we need more Garandiers. Guys that are running Garands. I certainly have plenty of figures of have with Garands. What I didn't check is, do I have enough for 1 squad? Dumbass. Yeah, I probably have enough to make 1 full strength squad. I have 4, that's 8. 8 infantrymen, plus a BAR gunner. That's 9. 2 junior officers. It's 10 and 11 in the squad leader. Yeah, I got enough for a squad, because then I could do a little practice scenario. Excuse me. A little practice scenario with one of these. Ethel. This one in particular is Ethel. Although I think... No, I'm thinking of the Germans. The German Panzergrenadier squad has 2 LMGs. Because one ends up being put back here in the AA position. I don't remember if that's the same case with Americans or not, but I got enough guys, enough full strength squad to run in a half track. Do a scenario with a half track and a Sherman. Cool. Not bad for a die-cast toy. I got one scenario that came in the rules. The scenarios that are in the rules are kind of suspect. And one of them has like a squad of Brits, a squad of Americans, and a squad of like partisans. I'm like, oh, how convenient. How convenient that it's exactly split like that. Like one of them, one of the basic ones that comes with it, the main rules only come with Germans and Germans and Russians. I don't know why they decided to do it that way, but that's how they decided to do it. The core rules only have Germans and Russians. So they have an expansion for the Commonwealth, they have expansions for Americans, and then they have an expansion for the 1940 French. And nothing for the Japanese. You know, you just have to extrapolate all the other information. It's not complicated. So nothing for the Italians. It'd be simple to do that. You know, the information's available. TO and E's are available. You know, that you don't even need that in the rules. You just go online, and sometimes what they put in the rules is suspect anyways. But one of the meeting engagements is like a squad leader with like a submachine gun, and everybody else is a rifleman. and like 10 guys, and the Russians have the same thing. I'm like, I'm not even gonna bother playing that. That's just like ridiculous. That's ridiculous to have two forces that are, you know, there's a game called chess that does that. You know, both people start with the same unrealistic makeup of whatever it is that their forces. You know, chess does that. I don't want to play that shit. But several of the scenarios that come in those some of those scenario books are smaller, size table wise, 3x4, 2x4, 4x4. I could do 3x4 now. I could do 2x4 on a freaking table, and I got the those mats. I'll do it. I pulled out the other mat, the one that the mat guy sent me as a replacement, which I don't like as much as the one that I have that's damaged. I use for all the photos. That really is the best looking mat I've probably ever seen. Even though the one I got was damaged, it is the best looking mat I've ever seen. It's just I got damaged product and his customer service is pitiful, or he's unwell, or both. But the print on it is fucking stellar. I can't say enough good things about it. Which is why I got it in the first place. And the material thinness is actually good because I can get those washers underneath there and put the trees. You know, if I go to something thicker, then the magnets won't work as well, so the tree thing won't work. I suspect, even though I used the strongest ones I could find, magnets. Rare earth magnet. Is that Earth 616 or is that a different Earth? No, the magnets are rare. Well, I know. I'm not going to fight them on the street. They're not in the middle of my yard. Let me kick rocks and maybe I'll get lucky and find a magnet. Doesn't work that way. How do people even come up with the concept of multiple universes? I just never did those drugs. I just can't get on board with there being multiple Mitches. If there's multiple Mitches, why do I get that one? 4 left. Of course, when I mean left, it still have to dry brush other colors on top of them. Yeah, it takes a while if you're trying to do this many of them at once. Another reality, you're the one that doesn't wear shoes and Mitch has Arab slippers he wears. Little Arab slippers he wears. As long as one of us doesn't cross dress, and as long as that one of us isn't me, you know. I'm not wearing shoes, but I'm in my house. I'm in the dirtiest room in my house, my workroom. But it's indoors, you know. You know, and it's not weird that he doesn't wear shoes. He doesn't wear shoes, you know, in a it'd be like if I had a shed in the back of my house, right? That I would keep my lawn equipment in. And I would go from my house to the shed and not wear shoes on the way there and not wear shoes in the shed and then come back in the house and also not wear shoes. That's why it's weird. It's not weird not wearing shoes in your house because I don't wear shoes in my house. But I also don't have dirty feet, you know. So like I don't go outside barefoot. I'll go to the beach, I'll go to the pool, you know, I won't walk to the pool barefoot, you know. That's the only reason it's weird. I don't step on grass and bugs and shit like that and then bring that into my house. Like, not cool, you know. That's what shoes are for. Yeah, I don't, you know, my friend Scott, he always says that the plot device he doesn't like and thinks it's lazy is time travel. And I'm actually okay with time travel because time travel gives you that whole idea of like, man, I wonder if I would have done this in school, or I wonder if I would have done this other thing. So you get to see what happens. And then, you know, and you can do a do over, but, you know, I like that. That's, you know, you have the unintended consequences thing. You know, so I don't really mind that as much. It's the multiple universes where there's multiple versions of yourself that's fucked up, you know. Which I guess in Back to the Future there is time travel and there are multiple versions of yourself because you go back and see him and like if he interacted with himself like there was a problem, you know, you were gonna. But yeah, I don't mind time travel as much as multiple universes was just never a thing. It didn't exist when I was in, you know, until I don't know that it existed until Marvel started, you know, doing those drugs. And I never watched comic books or cartoons, so I wasn't aware of it until relatively recently. And it is just a plot device I don't really care for at all. And it's like really confusing. So I don't like watching all those superhero movies that have all those things and Easter eggs and they all tie into each other. And well, you have to watch this one and this one. Oh, there's one thing, this one guy in the back that was doing this one device. That's the one part that's in the other one. I'm like, I watch movies one time and that's it, you know. And I don't like these superhero movies with 20 different superheroes and they're all, you know. You know, they don't make those movies for me. But multiple universes, nah, I don't. I'm not a science guy, man. I'm not into that shit. So we don't even know what's at the bottom of our freaking oceans, and we're worried about, you know, multiple universes in space that's like thousands of light years away, and like you don't know shit. We don't know shit about this stuff. So I don't get into that shit. I don't get into the, well, in one universe, I'm the one that works weekends. No. I used to work weekends when I was a wee lad. But when I had a part-time job, the multiverse theory has existed since the 1970s. The only flaw is that there's no way for the real multiverse to coexist. That's the point plot. It makes my head hurt, man. That just makes my head hurt. I mean, how many are there? How many multiverses are there? Yes. And then you're like, okay, well, I just don't want to watch this one movie because this one, say, I don't want to see the second Doctor Strange. It has too much multiverse in it or whatever. I actually liked the first movie. I don't know how. The preview looked terrible. And then my daughter conned me into watching it when it was on TV, and I actually liked it. I actually liked the first one. Maybe because I had an idea that it was going to be so bad, and I like Cucumber Batch, whatever his name is, and but then they all the movies have that shit in them right now, and I'm like, I can't take it anymore. I need some reality, or whatever. My biggest problem with those superhero type movies is they have these villains that are just, oh, they're just misunderstood. Like, what happened with like good and evil? There's like people that are just like generally fucking evil. Stalin, Hitler, people like that generally freaking they're just evil, and you gotta eliminate them because they're evil, or they're going to and they just like, well, they just have misunderstood things like that. What was the one movie where it was basically like a payback for something that was done to them, and they got the one of the Avenger movies, or I forget, they're all fucking blend together. I'm like, it's just freaking lame. That's like, that's not a real villain. Like, what happened to that? Every decision or sliding door moment creates a different universe and timeline. We can never know what happens in all those universes. Stop! Let me go take a dump now instead of in an hour, and I'll create another universe. No, it's stuff like that why I hate science. That's just wow. So in another universe, I actually have AI go to work for me, and I sit here and paint. Can I go to that universe? AI is really annoying because now I see all kinds of stuff that's that's fake pictures that are generated by AI, and like it gets to the point that you're not going to be able to tell what's real and what's not, and like I'm not interested in not real stuff. You know, AI nerds. That's the way it works. I want to go to a universe where there's no irony and no coincidences. There's a universe where ketchup didn't get invented. Yes, can I go there now? I know in another universe I eat ketchup. No, I don't. That doesn't exist. That's way too far fetched. I know we can do this all day. Think AI is a misnomer. Should be thought as machine learning. No. Yeah, there's so much stuff that's just such fake things. So subscribe to this Facebook group. You may as well. I don't know why. I don't remember what the hell it's called. Panda Hasha Hatata. It's like some Indian type name. You're like from India, not. And there's always military pictures out there. They're like a Panzer tank or whatever. A Panzer tank. Great. Now I'm one of those people. A tank. Um, different stuff, and that's why I subscribe to it. There's some pretty interesting photos I had never seen before of World War II stuff. And the comment on every single or 97.8% of all the pictures is amazing. You probably know which page I'm talking about. You may even subscribe to it. And it's just AI generated bullshit, you know. Or some interloper that's trying to hack something and they're like, "Hey, let's make people look at over here while we're doing something different." And it's annoying because everything is amazing. It's like, when everything is amazing, nothing is. Not. It's like if you go around, you typing everything in caps. I don't think somebody's angry. I'm just like, when you type everything in caps, you're emphasizing this stuff in capitalized letters. And if everything is capitalized, you can't emphasize everything because everything's emphasized all the time. So you're diluting the value of emphasization, So if everything's an emergency, then nothing is. It just dilutes the value of whatever it is. But anyways, they got some good pictures I've never seen on there before. That's the only reason I'm even on there. Like it was one of those suggestions like, oh, what's this? Panda Hasha lifestyle or something. I don't know what the hell it's called. Panda something or another. Sounds like it's some Indian dude. I'll tell you what it's called right now. Yeah, well, I got pretty freaking close trying to remember what what the fuck is Panda Shaka, Sakha, Panda Shaka lifestyle, gaming video creator. I show life in the village, its nature and village cuisine, and then a bunch of shit in Russian. I've never read this before. I live in the village of the what? What? I live in the village of the who? I don't know. You're just some fucking bot. You commie bot. Yeah. He's got some interesting photos in there. It's another one of those sites where the people come in and comment and they run their mouth. They talk about stuff they don't know anything about. Oh, this is a such and such. No, it's not. They just create misinformation for people. So people can complain all they want about Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a lot more accurate than a lot of those generic Facebook sites, Facebook pages on there. There's a lot of misinformation on Facebook. And I'm not even talking about political stuff. I'm just talking about just like regular history. There's a lot of misinformation. So this game, unfortunately, does use informational counters, which can clutter up the battlefield, but they're actually pretty colorful. They're not like, made crappily. Although they came in the back of the rule book, I printed them in full color on self-adhesive paper, and then stuck them on this and made my own counters. I wonder if any of those are peeled back, because, man, I've had them a long time, 20 years. You're basically running around without any informational counters on your figure until there's, they gotta have to have a reload token, or, if you roll to fire at somebody, you roll really high, you might get a reload token on your figure. That means the next action you get, you need to take that off, or you don't have any ammo, And they're pretty nice looking. I think they have them. I have them right over here. Oh, they're all the way at the bottom. Of course they would be. Shaken counter, fatigue, if he's wounded. I guess this is for hidden stuff. Prisoner, hesitate, that's another thing that can happen to you. Could hesitate. Pin markers. Where's the reload counter? It's really, really cute. It's got these little bullets on it. Cute little counter. Ooh, I found a mistake. The jam counter has a pistol with an X on it, and the pistol's a Beretta. And that did not come out until late 1970s. Whoops. Sometimes you can know too much. It's not the model 1934 we're at. No. Yeah, look at this cute little reload counter. But this is printed 30 years ago, so it's a little grainy. It's not too bad, honestly. Immobile, weapon, vehicle speed stuff, and I still got some other ones to do. Counter for what's loaded in the chamber of the tank. This actually will go on the car. It doesn't need to go on the tank. Main armament malfunction. Buttoned up, crew exposed. Loaded, not loaded. You know. Here's the move. This is how far you can move every turn. 5 inches, basically. And it depends on, when you stand up, so. If you go from standing to standing, you move 5 inches. If you go from prone to prone, you can go 2 inches, which is honestly pretty generous. Really should be more like an inch. I mean, people don't crawl that well. Anyhow, to be continued. The sound of the week. Ode to a Weed Whacker. Oh, why are we using the little one first? Let's use the big one first. The places we can't reach with the big one, we use the little one. Not the other way around. I'm sure that you have the artistic skill to make mini models from the counters. What? I have EWM temporary grave markers, pin markers for various rules, and I have grenade and bullet models as counters. Well, I'm just going to go with that. What I do have the artistic skill is, you ever play that game Patton's Best? Patton's Best is a game where you manage a tank. And what's unique about that game is you have a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. That on the right hand sheet, it actually has and this is actually something I wouldn't mind doing. That is, I think, pretty helpful. Is have a drawing over here of the actual vehicle. So you have a sheet for the vehicle, and on that vehicle that hell, I'm saying I have enough computer skills, I think, that I would be able to, let's make a sheet for M3A1 half-track Ethel, okay, which is this one. So take a little photo of this guy, put it up here in the top, and then over here, because you can get these drawings for friggin' free on the internet, have an overhead view of this. Or maybe even do this, and it can be in full color, or maybe I'll turn it black and white or whatever. So you've got this thing zoomed in, so it takes up the space. And you got little penny, that's the advantage of using pennies, of where all the positions are of the people on here. So, if you've got, these guys are lined up inside this half track, you've got the slots for them on the seats that the actual figures go on. And this goes off the board somewhere, right? And then all your informational counters go on here. You might have like your speed counter behind this vehicle. What speed it's going or what have you. But that's it. The rest of the informational counter is on here. And I've thought if the game was even more detailed than it is, and it's not detailed enough to merit this, but you could have, you've got this figure, you could have a little portrait of them. I'll take a picture of them, put them in here, and you've got this sheet that has all of the data for this person. But the game isn't that detailed, thankfully, because the next thing you know, you're searching for traps and shit like that, okay? But there is a sheet basically for each player, and generally you would normally run about a half a squad, maybe a squad at the most per person if you really know what's going on. So you basically have one sheet for every squad, and it would list the guys and what their skills are, and if they had any wounds and stuff, you could list them on there, that kind of thing. But for the vehicles, I think it would be really useful to do something like that. Like you have a Sherman, and Patton's Best used to do that. There was a picture of the Sherman over here. above view, and there were slots. There was like, you would have one for the driver, one for the co-driver, big little squares that would match with the size of the counter. So if he was buttoned up, you'd put the buttoned up on that square of what the guy is. Because Patton's Best was played without miniatures. This was your miniature, and it actually worked pretty well as far as that goes. But you could do that with all the other vehicles, and you just have vehicle information for that on there. I think that would be relatively easy to do. I would even say almost fun to do. And that way you have all the information on there, because there's a lot of that rule book is super thick, but there's a lot of stuff in there you don't need. You don't. I mean, you saw the weapons data sheet. It has like the caliber of the weapon and all that kind of stuff. You don't need that. It also has like all these ranges for short, medium, and long, depending on if you want the rules to be compressed, whether 3/4 of the time or half the time, which they could have just done by doing a simple conversion. Like, you figure it out yourself. Like, here's the standard distance of the rules. If you want to do something different, you figure out the conversion rate. They didn't do that. They spelled it out for you. So that just creates a bunch of like what I call noise. That it's just trying to get to the truth. There's all this stuff in the way, and it's just on there. But I could totally see doing that sort of thing. Almost the way that Wings of War handles like the planes, except there'd be actual stuff on here. Hell, even mount them on cardboard. I got a laminator. I could laminate them. So we'll see where it goes, and see if it's necessary. But that would be a nice enhancement to the game, if it provides clarity. Because, like I said, the game is not complicated. All you need to know is like, okay, how far can I move? Okay, can I move and shoot? You roll percentile dice. That's simple. You roll percentile dice for everything, and then you get one action when your token comes up. What are the actions? And just have a list of the actions, and it should be pretty easy to do. Like, climb a ladder, throw a grenade, unload not like, some things take multiple actions to do, like maybe loading something that's that is really heavy or something like that. But almost everything's one action, so it's real simple to. You're a person, you're playing people, so you kind of know what a person can do, so it's not that complicated, Does it move slow? Yeah, it moves slow, but that's okay, Don't make any plans. That's why I probably expect to be doing a fair amount of soloing it, because it can work around my schedule, So, and it'll all be filmed. I no point in doing this and not filming it. They're really interesting things that some of you guys may find amusing, and there's no point in not filming it. And the filming allows me to stay on track. So, sign of things to come. But that'd be a really nice enhancement. I think that would be, I'm not computer unsavvy. And I don't mind trying to figure out how to do things. I just don't like trying to figure out how to do things, and there's a lot of misinformation, and like, I don't have the time to go down every rabbit hole, because every time I go down a rabbit hole, that stuff I'm not painting. I mean, this is what I like to do, and what happens on the tabletop will probably be fun too. But yeah, we'll see. But the way to run it with multiple people, I think it's just going to be like, look, I'm going to play on this night. I'm going to solo it. If you guys show up, I'll give you some guys to move around in. If you like it, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. But not like, all right, we got to get 4 players, and we need 4 German ones, and everybody says they're coming, and then one guy can't make it and throws everything up. Fuck that. I'm not going to plan it around other people, because there's real life stuff. Hell, I could play this and nobody like it. I know one thing for sure. I'm going to like it, or I'm going to modify it to a way that it works for what I need it to do. So, and I'm not saying that I need to do that, but it is unlikely that everything will end up being run exactly the way that the rules say. Now, my experience with the rules is they're pretty darn close. But I've already said one of the things I'm going to include in it is that minimum firing distance from a tank, because that's kind of, when you're even on a 2x4 foot battlefield, there's a fair amount of the battlefield when you have vehicles on here. that there's zones around a vehicle where the main armament is not going to be able to hit you with high explosive. And that sounds really hokey, or really not hokey. It looks real anal retentive, but it's a big part. You can't just have a guy that's sitting. Let's use a KV. Fuck it. Now what do we have here? We got Americans out here. Let's get a Nazi tank. Okay, let's get a Panther. What's this Panther by? This is the. What is this? This is a Panther that's by BP Cast. This is a BP Cast Panther with a replacement barrel from somebody else. Okay, so if you have a Panther, man, it looks green. If you have a Panther like this and you got a guy that's right here, you can't hit him with the main armament. You know, the main armament on a Panther, you know, you got to do the trigonometry thing. It sounds real anal retentive, but it's pretty important. You know, there's an area around the tank that you can't hit. Now, if you want to get really anal retentive, let's think about it this way. There's probably a distance this could probably depress to the sides more than it could to the front, because there's not enough of the super. Okay, that's taking things too far. I'd have to get in an actual tank and measure it, but you know, there's an area, say, this far away, all the way around the tank, that the main armament's not going to hit you. We can keep you honest when you are soloing the rules. There you go. Oh, I can't wait to do that. Well, you know, I gotta become familiar with it. You know, keep me honest. I'm the GM. Everything goes. You know. Hey, I want to see what happens. You know, there's no point in making shit up. You got to buy a set of rules then. How bad do you want to keep me honest? They're available. They're available for like $50 or $60. I don't know why they're out of print. I mean, the other expansions are available by PDF. Just PDF them. You know? There's much shittier rules still in print. I don't understand. Is it lunchtime yet? Man, I'm hungry. Well, won't be eating for a couple hours. Keep me honest. I'm the most honest fucker out there. The problem is unfortunately I'm human and I make mistakes. So I can't stand playing a game. And there's many reasons I'm not playing DBA. And one of the minor-ish reasons, let's put this guy back, is one of the people that came back, that disappeared for 15 years. He plays super, super loose. He plays super, super loose, and that bugs the fuck out of me. That's different than making mistakes. That's just like being, you know, deliberately trying to get away with shit. And the funny thing is this person is like claims to be a super religious person, but you know, it's okay to manipulate stuff in a game. You know, I'm talking like moving farther than they should. Oh, I didn't see that kind of crap. Like, yeah. So I don't want to deal with that shit. One of the games that they started playing again, I overheard somebody said, "Oh, so and so's back. Now I'm gonna have to watch him again." I'm like, I don't have time for. I'm to the point where I'm like, if I encounter that, I'm gonna call him out and said, you know, fuck you, you cheating fuck. That's to the point where I am in life. Like, I don't give a shit if you think I'm. What am I being honest? You know, like, I'm just not gonna let people get away with that with a fucking game. You know, like I come here for like to distract myself, not to deal with that kind of dishonorable shit. You know. I don't come and play games to create more stress for myself. You know, that's the wrong thing. That'd be like, you got to run stuff at games and you got to risk your figures disappearing and people ham fisting your figures. And I don't. I don't have to run. I don't have to. I don't play with these figures at all. Like that one guy that had to, in that one convention game, this guy just grabbed like figures just like a pile and just dumped them. I'm like, I'm not dealing with that. Somebody's getting an earful. I may not lay hands on them because I'm like the biggest badass in the world, you know, but they're going to get an earful. I have absolutely no problem talking about letting them have it. Well, you're not going to make any friends that way. Do you really want to be friends with somebody that's like that way? Like, do you need friends badly enough that you need to do, you need to put up with stuff like that? So, there's a saying in Spanish, and there's probably an equivalent English one. It says, and the saying in Spanish is, mejor solo que mal acompañado. Better off by yourself than in the bad company, than wrong company. And I firmly believe that, you know. When you're in grade school, you have to deal with people that you don't want to be around, man, because, that's who they decided to put you in the classroom with. Well, you're an adult. I don't like that guy. Guess what? You don't have to play with him, you know. You don't have to interact with him. And now he's weed whacking. So yeah, that whole I gotta put up. We gotta watch that guy. I'm not. You gotta watch that guy. Like, sorry, you're not playing here again. Well, how come? Because you're a fucking cheater. That's why. Let's look at the film and see. Film everybody moving. It's different if you freaking like make, like you legitimately try moving the guy, and then something happens and then the guy falls over. And oh shit, where was he? And instead of putting him here, you put him here. Okay? I mean, shit happens. We're all fucking human. But like, yeah, he was over here. And then argue with it about like, man, I got to the firing squad with you, you know? I ain't got no time with that. And people like that, you just got to stand up to them. You don't let them get away with stuff. Especially nowadays. There's some people that just never had their ass beat, you know? And it shows. It shows. So I've been fortunate that all my local GBA plays, I really don't have people like that to deal with. I don't know that's ever happened over at Mitch's house. So it's not Mitch and my local players that are the issue. Hint. Those guys aren't a problem. But the thing is you have to be the example. You can't be the guy that's like moving around and doing shifty stuff and like, you hold on, let's see how far you move. And then when it's your turn to move, oh yeah, it's that far. You gotta operate by the same rules. So that's why, the whole cock, some people are like, oh, how do you play with cocked dice? Like, you just play with every dice. Now, if the dice is, if it's not facing up, if it's like, do you have a dice sitting around here somewhere? I don't know. But if it's, it's like fun on a fucking, on the ground, I don't think anybody plays dice that fall on the ground. But, if the dice is, You know how much quicker our games would be if we could play dice that are on the ground and Mitch throws them on the ground? It'd be a lot quicker. You know, you're rolling. Say this was a D6 game, God forbid. You know, why can't you play that with a 4? I mean, oh, it's touching the stand. Okay, well, can you play it now? I mean, it's touching the stand still. You know, just play them all the time. I don't see what the problem is. No, it's none of our local players. They're not the issue. It's actually never anybody that's come and played at Mitch's house. There you go. So I can tell you who it is. Who it isn't. It ain't Marty. It ain't Mitch. It ain't, Luke. Not Scott. None of them people. Yeah, call people on that, man. It's your social responsibility as a game master, as an honorable player, to call people out on shit like that. Don't let them get away with it. They've probably done it their whole life and nobody stood up to them. Fuck them. Make them sit this one out. When I started playing DBA, I don't even know who this is, but apparently there was a problem at Historicon with people cheating to the point where somebody actually had dice that didn't roll right. I'm like, who would do that? Like, let's say you win. Like, how does that feel to you? You won and you know that you cheated. Maybe some people don't care. Maybe their life sucks so much they got to do that. But like, just you're basically playing an illegitimate game. It's bad enough that you play a game and sometimes you get stuff wrong, and then you got a win or you got a loss that didn't really count, but you got to count it. But something got done wrong. That's bad enough. But like, to know that you are basically playing an illegitimate way. You're in the wrong hobby, pal. You're in the wrong hobby. Luke was telling me he does a lot of, or I don't know if he still does, but I suspect he does, a lot of paintball. And it says paintball is just full of cheating. I'm like, I couldn't do that. There's no way I could play that. I would, Nope, you didn't hit me. Like, there's that red paint on you. Nope, that wasn't me. Boom! Nope, you're hit now. Now, he said it's pervasive. It's like everybody cheats in it. I'm like, I couldn't play it. I couldn't fucking play it. There's no way I could play that. I'd be in the news. Whatever that means. I'd be in the news. And I don't want to be in the news. See, I don't want to deal with shit like that anymore. Like, oh, this guy showed up again. Oh, he's the... Because I've heard these horror stories. Other people have told me these horror stories of these guys that play in it. Flames of War, I think is what it was. One of the guys was telling me they have this Flames of War group where they play. And every time this guy shows up, he like freaking ruins the experience for everybody else. Say, well, why let the guy play? Why does one guy get to ruin the experience for 10 other people? Why can't the 10 other people stand up to this guy, call him what he is, and basically shun him? Or worse. Why? Well, that would be rude. The guy's a fucking cheater. Fuck him. You know? He's probably an asshole too. I guarantee there's nobody that's a nice guy, but he's a cheater. that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to the next cane convention. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be the whistleblower on cheaters. Are you here to play a game? No, I'm just here to find the cheaters. I'm gonna take them away in chains. You guys are awfully quiet. You're not a bunch of cheaters, are you? Oh, man. And so it ends with Dickerson. The guy who's a Dickerson. You son of a dick. Send me to Claymore. I'll be up there to straighten out, see who's the cheaters around there. Are there Scottish cheaters? Okay. Now, we got the base color and all that. Let's get the other ones out. What time we're looking at? We're not ready yet. You guys got me all wound up now. Iraqi sand. No, I gotta put my glasses on to see what's going on over there. Yep, U.S. field drab. No, it's not a low-flying aircraft, even though it sounds like it. And you wouldn't have been hearing that if the guy would have mowed on Wednesday like he was supposed to. I think this one will work just fine. Might need to go in with a smaller brush at times. What's all this nonsense on here? What do we got on here? Okay, don't need that. Is he mowing now? The typhoon blows away all the trimmings for him? No, he's mowing because, I don't know. Maybe he smokes too much pot and just woke up. Liquitex dried up. They don't make that resin sand anymore, do they? No, they don't. And they stopped making it. This is what you need to use, and it's better. And this is the freaking new Vallejo and their new packaging bullshit. That's the natural sand. I think they still make the natural sand, but it's not very useful. This is the old resin sand. They don't make this anymore because it wasn't a sustainable material. Now, I still have about this much of it. I'm going to hold on to this, so if I need to redo any of the bases that still have this resin stand, I'll use this for it. Maybe it'll dry up on me, whatever, you know. The redo is, oh look, and I have an even older resin sand. Yeah, this one's, is this one even, oh no, this turned into a crustacean. Yeah, bye-bye. So this is what the resin sand used to, I bought this 3 or 4 times. And there's a guy who did a video, a very useful video, that compared the Liquitex and the Vallejo stuff. I don't have the original Vallejo. This is what it looks like now. But this is the equivalent. So resin, and he did basically a comparison of like, okay, this is equivalent to this one, this is equivalent to this one. And the resin sand equivalent is this one that's called Rough Gray Pumice. It's Vallejo Diorama FX ground texture, 26.213. It's available on Amazon. And I don't know where this other one was made in France, but they're a bunch of candy asses and they don't want to keep making this. We're going to ruin the earth using a non-sustainable material. It's fucking this container. You're not going to ruin the earth using this container. Okay? This stuff is made in Spain, but it's in Barcelona, and they're Frenchish, so they may discontinue this at some day. But this stuff is better than this in every way. It dries a little quicker. It has better texture, so I don't really miss this. But the only reason I don't use this is because they decided not to make it. You know. Now I don't know what the natural sand equivalent is in Vallejo, but they have one. But this guy did a video. I don't know what his name is. It was very instructional video about how to compare this kind of stuff. I tend to not like to do those instructional videos because they take a lot of time, and then there's always somebody like, well, you didn't compare this and this. I'm like, well, you didn't do a fucking video at all, so shut the fuck up, you know. So I've gone into the, I'm only going to make videos for stuff that I want to on my terms, and if you don't like it, you can go fly a kite up your ass, you know. But you know, you guys don't fall in that category. It's just people that are like, they don't contribute anything at all. But yeah, rough gray pumice. That's what I used on all these. It's better than resin sand in every way. It dries a little bit quicker. Instead of like 8 hours, it probably dries in 6. It's available. So last time I ordered them, I ordered 2 of them because I don't want to run out of this shit, you know. And next time I order one, run out, I'll probably order 2 more. Yeah, so good stuff. This is better than mixing your own. You know, that just takes extra time. So we're going to go to Mr. Varela over here. And good morning, Mr. Hoffman, the Hofmeister. We got you over here. We gotta get these guys finished before we do your figure here. And then we'll see what kind of trouble you get into. Actually, it's not you, it's your people. I mean, technically, that's your people. The one guy named Hoffman. I don't mind helping people out, but I have a really low tolerance for helping people out, and then it's like it's still not good enough. Well, if what I give you is not good enough, well then just go somewhere else. You know, I'm sure you'll be miserable everywhere. Again, it doesn't really apply to my regular folks. It's just people that come out of the blue. I really don't tolerate tolerate. Where's that on the chemical chart? Why are you in a bad mood? I'm all out of tolerite. I did a post the other day, and somebody out of the blue, I don't know how they were able to post on my personal page. Well, yeah, I don't know how that happens. Like, I post something on my page, and somebody that I'm not even friends with comments on it. I'm like, And if you get nasty, you'll get blocked, and I'll never hear from you again. I mean, you'll like die of fucking cancer, and I won't even bring you roses because I don't even know about you. You know. I don't do stuff like that to other people. So I pretty much demand that you're going to behave the same way I behave around other people. If you're not going to, then well, you're dead to me. You know. And you guys got me wound up today. I'm ready to go beat somebody up. Hope there's not any looters. They're gonna get shot. What's the next update? 1, 2, 3, 11. And I just go over some of the. I try not to paint these rocks, but I do dry brush over them a little bit. That helps tie them into this terrain that they're in a little bit better. Yeah, rough grade pumice works. It works even better. But the only reason I jumped ship was they stopped making it. You know, why did I not use Model Master? They discontinued Model Master. I was perfectly happy. I've used Model Master to seal all my stuff forever. They decided to discontinue that stuff. Well, you brought it to yourself. We're not buying any of our product. Well, you canceled the product we were buying. You know. Yeah, they stopped making it about, I guess, 5 or 6 years ago. And thankfully, the replacement product is better. Thankfully, because there's no, I don't want to go back to mixing this stuff up with sand and Elmer's glue. That's really time consuming. That's really time consuming. Hold on. Tobin. We could have an American named Tobin. You all right with that? You all right for me to get some guy with a Garand named Tobin? I don't know where Tobin works into. I don't know if that's your name or your girlfriend's name or something like that. I already know I'm gonna have some officer. I'm gonna have some officer with a big old mustache named Waddington. Smith. I already have it. Do I have a Smith? I don't know that I have a Smith. It could work. It's not like a Smith's a weird name. I know. I think a British name's a little bit more complicated than Smith. I mean, obviously Smith comes from that, but you guys have access to more exuberant names than that. Although, what are my four Brits' name? Campbell. What are they? I don't remember. I got four of them. Phillips was a corporal. Corporal Phillips. Duncan. I have a Duncan. There's a Scottish guy named Duncan. Duncan Campbell. Sharp. Yeah. Sharp and a. Of course, a sharp guy has a rifle. Think about it. Sharp with an E at the end, and Phillips. I'm not dying to name people because bad stuff's going to happen to some of these guys, and I don't want to be like some kind of some kind of bad juju doll, or you get in a car wreck or whatever because one of your guys is named after you got shot by run over by a tank or something like that in one of my games. You know, I don't believe in none of that shit. So bad juju. Why'd this go dormant again? I'm suspect that goes dormant. Come on. There we go. This guy's jacket's a little bit more yellow than I would have liked. I could repaint it, but I'm gonna leave it be. I specifically actually made some of their equipment that's standard to be have a little bit more a hue of this or a little bit hue of that. There's some variation in manufacturing. Adds interest to them. And that guy's a little bit more yellow. It's a good pose. Guy's actually a really good pose. Big Johnson. I don't want to name anybody after anybody if they're actually going to physically play it. Because what happens is like, let's say you got a German sergeant, Feldwebel, named Harbach, okay? And then Mitch is playing Americans. He may have to face himself. It starts turning into too much of that Earth 616 shit, Like, nah, we're not going to name it. We're not going to use any names of people that you might actually encounter. It's not you. It's just somebody with a last name that's similar to yours. Yeah, it's only the first color. It takes forever because you got to cover everything. Everything's got to be covered in that. The Harbach's arch nemesis are the Schumachers. Schumacher. The only Schumacher I know is what's that one driver for the Ferrari team, right? Well, he drove for different people. Whatever the Schumacher is. Schumacher. I'm gonna go out on a limb. Is that German for shoemaker? Because that would make sense. Because a lot of the German names are things like that. All right, let's do this, and we're gonna unplug this little thing that goes for the optical mouse, which I'm not using right now. And we're going to plug this in and give us a fan. Somebody turn the fucking fan. This just should work, right? Yep. Hopefully that's not too loud, but it's we need some air circulation in here. No fan in this room. There's only one speed to this thing too. All right. Yeah, Schumacher sounds like it'd be shoemaker. A lot of the Germanic names are trades. You know, and some are kind of easy to figure out. Some of them are not. Like Schneider. Schneider is like a tailor. Like, what? Like, how would you ever figure that out? You know? I think it is. I know Ellis Island butchered it into shoemaker, hence all the shoemakers in the U.S. You know, and I don't know that I've ever encountered somebody that's American named Shoemaker. Maybe, I don't know, I'm thinking that maybe you don't want to be called shoemaker. It's like pigeonholes you a little too much. But, you know, shoes are pretty fucking important. Like, you need them. Oh, I get it. Now why is the nemesis is the shoemaker? Got it. Yeah? Yeah, probably. Exactly. Now I understand it. Brilliant, sir. Well done. Yeah, a lot of the Germanic names are the same way. They got... There's a couple of them that are weird. Miller's, Mueller, and... I've never heard of them. It might just be one of those names that just, you know, died off. They couldn't get those stiff pills, so there's no more of them. Oh, you're a shoemaker, huh? No stiff pills for you. Nope. What's the worst surname you've encountered? Do you know how many? Do you have any Vons in your Germanic units? No, because I'm just commoner stuff, but there'll probably be a colonel or somebody like that. No, I don't have any Vons. What's the worst surname you've encountered? don't make one up. I mean, like one that you've like actually encountered with. I've had some funny ones at work. I don't remember any of them right now. Luke's got girlfriend, last name was Roach. That's pretty bad. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out there that likes roaches. I guess probably the closest thing to liking a roach, I had a friend of mine whose mom looked super, super hippie. Super, super, super hippy dippy dippy dippy. Doesn't believe in pest control. So she does not want to kill the roaches, so she doesn't spray. I would kill if all it takes is to kill all the roaches with a press of the button. I'd be like, I'd be killing them on Earth 616 and Earth 1000 and Earth. But they're viable you'll learn to eat something else. Just like when it's, when you go to, Subway and they're out of, pepperoni, you have a different fucking sandwich, Semen. That's the worst one. So I gotta do more Americans. I'm gonna have my little. I need a. What is it? A McGillicuddy, a Malarkey, and a Mahoney. Those will be. Why are they all with an M? We need some other better nicknames than that. Nicknames or nicknames? Yes. And I have my Italians that they don't get along with. They're gonna be all like fighting. They'll be like Gans in New York on the squads. Peacock. What was it? Oh, what was I thinking of this morning? Poppycock. That'd be great to have. If I did like a Victorian thing, it'd be great to have. Oh Lord, Poppycock. Don't give me ideas. Have a unit. Poppycock's cocks. Get me painting Brits. We'll have all those ridiculous, over-the-top accents. Hey, it's your own fault for getting Monty Python to come over here. I may do a shitty job, but I do better than most Americans, which I know may not be a whole lot, but there's a German skier called Fanny. Fanny. Is it a lady? See, if I lived in the UK, what would I have to call that game store? I wouldn't call it Pussyfoot's Paradise. I would have to call it Fanny Face's Fuckery. Look at all those fanny faces over there. That's good. I should get with that. You silly fanny face. What was the last name? Schlemar. Yeah, she's a lady, thankfully. I don't know. Most of the athletes are not very attractive. A lot of them are just in the face, Most of them. I mean, they could kick my ass, but, that's not a huge accomplishment. Woodcock. Corporal Woodcock. Be a good guy to be in the artillery. Oh, Woodcock blew, shot his load again. Pronounced a little smelt. Damn glasses. Schmeller. Okay. The Chase. I don't know what that is. Well, I gotta have a McGillicuddy because that's just a ridiculous name. That's a ridiculous name. It's a legitimate name, but it's like a ridiculous, like made up. Like it sounds like something out of Dr. Seuss. You know, there's some over the top something it belongs on. Naughty Nunu. Naughty Nunu McGillicuddy. Mulligan. There's another name. Another M. What's up with these freaking Irish M names? Is every Irish name start with an M? Mulligan. There's a Japanese name, Takashita. Takashita. Is it a legitimate name? 'Cause I don't want to just do, make up. Takashita. Takashita. That guy's got to go to the bathroom again. Why? He's Takashita. Oh, Takashita again. You know. Might offend somebody. Tough titty. Go to another channel. There's lots of offensive stuff on YouTube, man. I'm just getting to the point where I'm like, I want to offend people. If you get offended by my stuff, you need some thicker skin. You know, I like to say, you have these people running around, they're offended. They're offended by everything in a Norman Rockwell painting. I mean, everything goes except whatever you see in a normal Rockwell painting. You know, and whatever the English equivalent to that would be. It's a legit name, okay. Excellent. Take a shit out of this one. Oh man. And I got some Japs, although I prefer calling them Nips. I got some of those guys that are some really, really cool figures too. Really cool figures. You guys got to stop. And we're going to end up going to the Pacific Theater and, make everybody play Japanese and you only win until everybody dies, I know it doesn't work that way, but actually the Japanese would work great as an enemy because you could, as the GM, you could run them kind of generically, like they basically want to get in a hand-to-hand combat. Even the guy with the LMG, that's why there's a bayonet on the LMG, right? There's a bayonet on the LMG because it jammed once again. Where are my nips? Are they here? There they are. Let me see. I'm not filming with a camera, so I can take a picture of them, put them on screen. There's a couple of these guys that are just asking to be painted. And most of these guys are pretty freaking cool. Some of these guys are like all business. However, I may end up actually, if I could do the Japanese, I may end up rebuying these because some of these guys, like this poor guy, he lost part of his rifle because it's just soft metal and they're just kind of thrown in here. This guy, oh, he's got the broke rifle. Let's take a picture of him. He's got glasses. He's got something to say. Looks like that guy that ended up grabbing the guy that melted from Raiders of the Lost Ark. What was that guy's name? Tote? Here's another guy with a broken rifle. I think there's only two. Clean your lens. How about mind your own business? Is that clean enough for you? Clean your lens for clear pictures. Fuck you, I already did. I don't take shit from inanimate objects. And look at this bugle guy. Anybody else in here worth commenting on? You got some great faces. Most of them are like not goofy. I'm just showing you the goofy guys. I think might only be 2 or 3 of them. Look at this spectacled officer. These are the combat miniatures that are now available from the United States from Victory something or another. I found them. I just found them this last week. Knee mortars. Love these. I mean, I love these sculpts. These guys are much cooler than the Marines. The Marines are the only ones I don't have. I looked at the figures the other day. I'm like, nah, they don't look as cool as these guys. Look at the trumpeter. They even put a little bolt in that helmet. I don't remember if the Japanese helmet has a bolt in it. Heard of the Rocketeer? Well, this guy is the Trumpeter. Cool stuff. Probably under my shirt. Okay. I don't know what that means. I'm all belly under my shirt. Cool figures. Oh, I see 3 broken rifles. Well, I'll just buy these again. And I don't mind having. I only have like a squad's worth. And, you know, if anybody's just swarm, you never a swarm of these Japanese guys right now. The cool thing is I've got some tufts that I picked up that are specifically for the Pacific. They're very moist tree-like. Yep, there's that word again that apparently some people don't like. There's lots of things that are moist I like. There was an answer. Where are my nips? Well played, sir. I love it. Well played, sir. Yeah, I can't do those British accents. I'll have to practice them because, you know, back when I was a kid, everybody had those proper British accents. You know, you didn't have the oi and things like that. You know, you had everybody was uppity. You know, the commoners didn't have speaking parts in film. Sir appearing in this film, but not a sir and no speaking parts for you. Only chimney sweeping for use. Is this the one? Sure seems pretty scraggly. To get this scraggly just doing the one color? Maybe. LT in the house. I'd like to think this guy's not a dumbass. That's only LTs in Vietnam movies, right? And he's got the little stripe on the back of his helmet. Just figured make him look a little different. Strangest British surnames. Ready? Dankworth. Fernsby. Go to bed. Gotabed. McCoyd. Oh, McCoyd. Miracle. That just, you put miracle on a guy, it just doesn't sound like it's Culpepper. See, Culpepper to me is like a redneck name. Hard meat. Oh, you guys missed hard meat, man. Oh, and then there's a link. See, this is how you go into a rabbit hole. Unusual last name. What's the most unusual last name? Here are 6 of the most unique ones out there. Shufflebottom. Well, he's got to be on some kind. He's got to be laying proms because that's a long freaking word. Biggerstaff, one word. Hartshorn, full of love. Clam pit, 2 T's. Schellaberger. What's the longest British last name? I bet it's Welsh. Fernstone, 17. Pronounce Fernstone-Shaw. Fernstone-Shaw. What's the most British last name ever? Smith! You're in luck, Jeffrey. Smith. Oh, we gotta have a Smith. What's the last names no longer exist? Bread Spinster. Chips. A guy named Chips. Rummage. Pusset Temples. Well-beloved. Hatman. And By the Seashore. That's just ridiculous. Somebody's called that. Interesting. Shuffle bottom. Guys got the case of the shuffle bottoms. You always wanted the last name of Fuchs. Well, you could change your name, man. If you could change your gender and everything else, you could certainly change your name. Go to bed doesn't sound real, but it is. Katabin. Go to bed, and then sidekick night night. Yeah, then you have to compare that to, names around in the 40s. You can't just like take some, modern thing. I mean, I can't do shit like that. I mean, they got to be like legitimate. The only thing I won't do is do repeat names. So if you got one Smith, there's only one Smith, because otherwise, then you got to put a dot Smith, or use his whole name. Then they start looking like the names of U.S. destroyers, and it's just like silly. Shortcock and Ramsbottom, good ones. The 40s loved the name Dick. I'm glad that passed. Yeah. I guess people have got enough dick now. People couldn't get enough dick in the 40s. Now there's too many dicks. Short cock. Ram's bottom. Okay. Ram's Bottom is a village. There's also a called Clitheroe. That sounds like a cross between two things that I'm not going to mention right now. Three things. So for you Brits, bagpipers. The rules actually have a bagpipe. Somebody makes a bagpiper. I mean, I think lots of people. I came across a bagpiper the other day in a miniature form. Somebody was making them. And is it only Scottish units that have, like only the Scottish units have bagpipers, or is that something that would be in some of the, like, is there an Indian bagpiper? Dick is still a big name in Scotland, normally changed to Dyke or Dickie. Oh, Dickie. That makes it much better. The E gets yanked off the side. Dyke. Sounds like something you would yell when you got kicked in the nuts. Dyke. Bagpipers, they just the Scots unit or whatever. There's a scenario that comes, I think in the rules it has a bagpiper, which I don't really trust some of those scenarios anyways, not too much. But it'd be nice for me to have a bagpiper, because then when it's his turn, I could do something really annoying like, oh shit, I'm gonna wake everybody up. Well, isn't that the whole point of a fucking bagpipe? Wake everybody up. And do people in the UK dislike bagpipers? Do people in the South, the UK, go, there's those bloody Scots again with their infernal sheep bottom bags or whatever. Some Canadian units had pipers too. Okay. Some of the Irish Regulars might have a bagpiper. Yeah, their bagpipe sounds different. I don't know. I'm sure that if you put them side by side, I could tell the difference. The Scottish units, I think, in the Second World War didn't wear kilts. I think in the First World War they did have guys in kilts. Probably the bagpiper did wear a kilt, but I suspect everybody else did not. So, like in the I want to say that book that I have on Epsom, the infantry, one of the infantry divisions is a Scottish division. And if we got to look that up now. I can't just do stuff like that. I'll be thinking about it all day long. Monty's Epsom. Normandy 44. This is a fat book. This is Churchill's. Churchill's are in here. '15th Scottish Division, yeah. Six M4 Shermans and 2 Fireflies. That's 2 troops. Well, they need to have them. They're meeting 4 Mark IVs. Oh, this is a shit show aboard, though. This is a clusterfuck. Yeah, well, you could take parts like this and just go like, we're only going to do a small portion of it with the same flavor. Now, some of these are actually pretty interesting scenarios. I should probably do a video on this. Walk through the scenarios. A Daimler Dingo. First speedy. There's one scenario that actually looks actually pretty small. It's got a thick couple Mark IVs and a couple Churchills. This one, Attack at Dawn. I don't like these dark scenarios though. That's what it is. It's just a 2x4 board. It's just a 2x4 board, and it's members of the British 10th Highland Light Infantry and the Churchill tanks of the 7th RTR. Oh, it's the Nazi fucks. It's Hitler-Jugend. Well, it's 2 Mark IVs and 2 Panzergrenadier LMG teams, which basically have 5 men each. So I gotta paint 10 Nazi bastards and 2 Mark IVs that I already have. And the British, or the 10th elements of the 9th Royal Tank Regiment, 31st Tank Brigade, and 10th Battalion Highland Light Infantry Regiment of the 15th Scottish Division. 3 Churchills, and then 3 squads that are 10 man. Squad leader with there's nobody with a Sten there. Well, I can make an executive decision, and they got Sten guns for the squad leader at least. Squad leader, assistant squad leader, Bren guy, assistant Bren, 6 riflemen, and then a scout team that has a universal carrier. I have one, and 4 riflemen. That's not bad. That's a lot of infantry, though. That's a lot of. So I could take that scenario and say, you know what? You get a Mark IV and 1 SS Panzer Grenadier team, and then I got to decide whether to get 2 Churchills or 1. Or maybe 1 Churchill, 1 infantry squad. That might be interesting. What's on the board? An orchard. I got apple trees. Light woods. Bocage. A marsh. That might actually be worth doing. That actually might be worth doing. Oh, there's no bagpiper. There's a bagpiper in one of the books of the scenario. I don't know that any of these guys have bagpipers. There's a couple of theaters that just don't interest me at all, and I don't mean anything ugly to the veterans. And it just reminded me of this. It's not this. It's not Northwest Europe. It's not Italy. It's like Crete. Like there's like make a whole like scenario book on like Crete. I'm like I don't give a fuck about Crete. It just doesn't interest me. You know I can't be interested in everything. Bagpipe cape from Southern Asia really is popular in Pakistani Indian armies. Yeah, but they march funny when they do it. 2nd Battalion Gordon Highlanders fought in the 15th Highland Division, 1st and 7th Battalions on the 1st. Interesting. Kilts were not worn in the Second World War by Highland units. They were in times of permission was given for ceremonial duties. Okay, so bagpiper doesn't have kilts. I figured it'd be like separate exception. You know. We'll make an exception for that dude. Yeah, I got a lot of. We did the round robin on the Brits. I got plenty of Brits. I got plenty of Brits I want to paint too. They're cool looking guys. And by Brits I mean Commonwealth. Ramsbottom. He could be the out of touch commander. Higgs, the FO. Let's see if I can get through this before I have to discontinue this. Ten. 1 hour till I can eat again. Can we make it? Might have to take another coffee. Another black coffee, anyways. Yeah, a little fan blowing on me made a big difference. Yeah, we'll have to touch up the top of that, but no big deal. We're going to have to come back and do the edges anyways. I had to sit through a bagpiper recital last year to do an article for... I can't read that. Bidand. Bidand. Despite having earplugs, never again. My bodyguard in Tunis had a Gordon Highlander in it, and a piper played each morning, and he was allowed to wear the kilt. There was a band that for years they played at the Canadian Pavilion at Epcot, and they were really good, and they were called Off Kilter. and they played like 80s music, and they worked the bagpiper thing in, and it really worked. It wasn't like annoying on any level. It like actually made the song better, you know. So yeah, I think they're retired now. This is just before the pandemic when they stopped playing, but they were kind of like a, you know, they were always there, and they were wearing kilts and combat boots and whatever I forget what they were wearing, like normal stuff other than they were wearing kilts and combat boot type of stuff. And they weren't like they were pretty clean cut guys. They weren't like punks or anything like that. Yeah, there's some sounds that, you know, you'd rather not hear, you know, and bagpipes might be one of them. I don't necessarily hate them. It just sometimes they're done in a way that it's like, okay, enough already, you know. Um, Singing has a lot of vibratos the same way. It drives me crazy. It's like a stutterer. Like, okay, yeah, you know, no more. So the sound isn't necessarily a problem. It's the way it's employed. Southeast Asia. I had no clue. Didn't know they had sheep stomachs in Southeast Asia. Might have used like water buffalo stomachs or something. These look like shit. These guys that I did earlier. Let's refresh their lighter color on there. They don't look very good. Abernathy. And who's this? Downs. This awkward position guy. It's almost like the sculptor just did something with his neck. He's got neck issues. Looks a little bit like a crash test dummy. One car short of a crash test dummy. Alright, so this is where we're going to stop for today. We got all these guys pretty much have that painted on. They're gonna need tufts and the edges done on them, and matte varnish painted on them because they semi-glossish to a degree. So, and then they'll be done. Then all the Americans will be done, except this slacker that decided to not. Oh, not this one. This slacker, this mortar guy, that didn't make it. Willard. Okay, folks, thanks for stopping by, and we will see you at some point in the future. See you soon.